From Daily Trust News Center, this is News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, aviation workers paralyze activities at airports in Kano, Lagos, and Abuja. National Industrial Court adjudicates on ASU lingering strike. 9 women rescued from sinking house as flood sweeps away father of 4 children in Lagos. And on the foreign scene, King Charles III addresses UK Parliament for the first time, vows to follow Queen Elizabeth II's example. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Eugenia Abu. Flight operations have resumed at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, after a dispute between Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, and Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, NEMA. Reports say the dispute has been resolved and that scheduled flights have already left the airports for Abuja, Lagos, and other places. The aviation workers had earlier disrupted operations over disconnection of power supply to all NEMA staff accommodations. Clement Oloyede, Daily Trust Bureau Chief in Kano, had earlier spoken on the development.
This morning, hundreds of passengers woke up to a shock development. They were at the airport as early as 7 o'clock, some even earlier than that, for a couple of flights, one to Abuja and another to Lagos on Max Air and Asman Air. And what we gathered was that after Asman Air has already asked the passenger to board, they were asked to disembark again. Then that triggered some imposition, and it was found out that the air traffic control workers are down tools, and that was when the whole development became known to everyone that they were actually protesting against some development in the airport, which according to sources in the airport started since on Friday. And later on in the day, around 11, clear signal that they've been able to reach a compromise, which allowed the 2 aircraft, that is the Asman aircraft and Max aircraft, to leave the airport at that time. So as of noon, when we last had an update on it, it was just concluded that they had stepped down on their grievances that led to it. But later on, there were further reports saying that it goes beyond just the power supply being cut from NEMA facilities and what have you. We later learned that there was a nationwide strike has been declared by all aviation workers, which include National Union of Air Transport Employees, Air Transport Services, Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Association of Nigerian Association Professionals, Amalgamated Unions of Public Corporations, Civil Service Technicians, and the likes, that they declared nationwide protest to hold today, Monday. So, because there is no official communication, it is not really clear whether the downing of tools, officially, that's the position we're trying to, it's not clear whether the downing of tools was because of that nationwide strike or because of the issue with light. So as of this evening, that is where the matter is. We're not sure. There is no official communication yet that will ascertain whether the strike or the downing of tools, so to say, by the air traffic controllers will continue at a later time or whether the issue has been resolved.
Trust TV's Clement Oloyede speaking earlier from Kano. In a related development, activities at the regional headquarters of aviation agencies in Lagos were paralyzed on Monday morning following peaceful demonstrations staged by unions in the industry to protest the move to prescribe trade union activities in the newly passed Civil Aviation Act. 5 aviation unions had last Thursday threatened to shut down the industry after discovering what they called obnoxious clauses in the new act assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari. The unions have also vowed to protest at all airports nationwide and picket the aviation agencies in Abuja and Lagos to demand for the removal of the clauses. They have also given the federal government and the National Assembly 14 days to expunge the clauses or face a total shutdown of the industry. The protesting unions include the National Union of Air Transport Employees, Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, the Association of Nigerian Aviation Professionals, National Association of Aircraft Pilots and Engineers, and the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation Civil Service, Technical and Recreational Services Employees.
Here in the airport in Lagos. And this was predicated upon what we heard and even saw that they were planning to do, as in to enact law that will outlaw trade union activism and activities in Nigerian airports. Right from 1977, when they introduced this Essential Services, Trade Dispute Essential Services Act into our life by decree, and which they later turned into act. You know the style, the type of regime we were operating then, the military regime. They are coercive in nature. And now, they are now deeming it necessary to import this and foist on us as aviation workers.
The aviation workers are being denied their rights and privileges to engage in unionism. From the act that was being submitted through the National Assembly to the presidency, we have, been inundated that the act has been smuggled into, some clauses, some obnoxious clauses, which would denied the unions in aviation industry to perform their rights as enshrined in the Trade Union Act.
And still on union matters, the National Industrial Court of Nigeria has adjourned to September 16th, 2022, the suit filed by the federal government against the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, over industrial action embarked upon by the union about 7 months ago. The federal government approached the court sitting in Abuja, requesting an order for ASU to resume work while the issues in dispute are being addressed by the court. Madia Umar reports that at Monday's proceedings, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, sought to join the suit as an interested party. Here's her report.
Speaking to journalists outside the court, counsel to ASU, Falana, berated the federal government for going to court. He said the federal government should stop trying to blackmail ASU, adding that university lecturers have not stopped working.
They are yet to put their house in order. The government has not been able to make a case for the intervention of the court. Hence the basis of the adjournment. Please, we are filing papers. Allow us time. So we are waiting for those papers. Because this is not the first time government had adopted this rather dilatory tactic, which have a way of prolonging strikes. We were here last year when you had the resident doctor strike. It was the same approach. They said they won't be paid. At the end of the day, government had to pay them.
On his part, the counsel to the federal government, Tijani Ghazali, said ASU cannot dictate to the federal government what platform its members are to be paid. He said the agreement reached between the federal government and ASU has been substantially implemented and that details of the agreement will form part of the papers that will be filing before the court.
I believe all of you here are employees of your various organizations. You can't dictate to your organization how you will be paid. Your organization can decide to give you a check, can decide to pay directly into your account. One of their major issues is the issue of paying through either IPPIS or UCAS. We are saying that that cannot be dictated to government. We reserve the right to pay the way we believe is most appropriate in the circumstances. That is just one of the major things. There are so many things that cannot be disclosed.
It is important to note that before the hearing today, the Social, Economic and Rights Accountability Project, SERAP, and 5 undergraduates sued the federal government on what they described as an unlawful refusal of the federal government to meet the demands of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. As a matter of fact, they were in court today and they have filed their case, and they might be fighting with the Academic Staff Union of Universities the next hearing, which is on the 16th of September 2022. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Away from union matters, National Emergency Management Agency NEMA has rescued 9 people trapped in a sinking story building in Lagos. The building is located at 47 Akinwumi Street, Akinwumi North Estate, Mende, Maryland, Ikeja. The torrential rainfall, which lasted about 4 hours in the early hours of the day, flooded lots of communities in Lagos. NEMA advanced team close observations called for more reinforcement of personnel. One of the trapped victims, Blessing, disclosed that there are up to 9 people, most of them women. The landlord of the building had used a ladder to escape, but NEMA questioned him for failure to contact emergency responders. Trust TV gathered that someone amongst the trapped victims contacted NEMA, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA State Fire Service, and Police Disaster Management Unit, coordinated the rescue of all the 9 trapped ladies. A father of 4 and another yet-to-be-identified person were on Monday swept away by flood while trying to recover some of his property in Lagos. The elderly man was said to have returned to his house at Iyanaipaja after he had successfully evacuated his wife and 4 children to pick up some documents when the heavy downpour current swept him away. Both incidents, which occurred separately, happened at Iyanaipaja and command areas of the state. The father of 4, who was simply identified as Alpha, was allegedly swept away as a result of the heavy downpour, which caused heavy flood that took over most areas in Alimosho local government area of the state. Public Relations Officer of the National Emergency Management Agency, Ibrahim Farinloye, said the deceased had attempted to escape with his wife and 4 children. A chief magistrate court sitting at Akila area in Wamako local government area of Sokoto State on Monday refused to grant bail to Aliyu Umar, who hit Fatima Suleiman, which resulted in her losing her leg. Umar was charged for reckless driving, driving without license, and causing grievous hurt, which contravened sections 22 and 10 of the Road Traffic Law and 224 of the Sokoto Penal Code Law 2019. Chief Magistrate Maria Ogundaji, while ruling on the bail application filed by the Defense Counsel, Jacob Ochidi, said it was premature to grant the defendant bail at this stage. Maria, however, granted the oral application by the Attorney General of the state to take over the case from the police while making the oral application. The Attorney General, Suleiman Usman, SAN, who was represented by Sufianu Maikoki, argued that Section 211 of the Constitution and 106 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Sokoto State 2019 enables the Attorney General to take over the prosecution of any criminal cases initiated by any person or authority within the state. The Chief Magistrate, however, adjourned the case till September 19th for the commencement of hearing and ordered the defendant to be remanded in the Central Correctional Center in Sokoto.
What happened today is, in respect of the ruling for bail, application was moved on the last adjourned date, and today the ruling was delivered and the application was refused based on certain grounds relied by the court. In respect of the main case, it was adjourned to 19th day of September for commencement of hearing. So also the court make an order for the production of any document relied by the prosecution in proving the case, which is one of the fundamental right of the defendant for him to go through and see how he can defend himself. That one is in line with the constitutional provision.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, SAN, says improvement of the remuneration and conditions of service of judicial officers remains uppermost on the agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari. A statement signed by his Special Assistant on Media and Public Relations, Umar Gwandu, said the minister stated this in his address at the 2022 Court of Appeal annual legal year. The minister noted that the ongoing process of improving the welfare package of the judicial officers will be completed in accordance with extant constitutional and statutory provisions. He said while the budget of the judiciary declined from 95 billion naira in 2010 to 68 billion naira in 2014, there was an upward swing in 2015 from 73 billion naira to 120 billion naira in 2022. He said the government also makes special budgetary provision to cater for special assignments associated with national elections. Malami commended the foresight of His Lordship, the President of the Court of Appeal, in taking proactive steps towards an effective discharge of the onerous constitutional mandate over the outcome of elections. Troops of the Nigerian Army have rescued 6 kidnapped victims during clearance patrols conducted around the Kagonkadi in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. A statement released by the State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said bandits fled from the Kagonkadi area under the superior firepower of the troops who were conducting clearance operations, forcing the bandits to leave behind 6 kidnapped victims at their camp. The victims rescued are identified as Ilia Gide, Rabi Ali, Husseina Gide, Naomi Nuhu, and her baby, and Pamela Baraje. Arwa said citizens will be updated on any further developments. In the meantime, a combined team of civilian joint task force and police operatives have neutralized over 10 terrorists in Batari local government area of Katsina State on Sunday. The terrorists first launched an attack on Batari town on motorcycles, shooting sporadically, but the residents and civilian JTF, with the support of police, repelled them, killing over 10 of them. However, 2 residents lost their lives in the incident. Confirming this incident, a resident of Batari town close to security operatives told Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi that 2 AK-47 rifles and 7 motorcycles were recovered from the terrorists. Batari is one of the frontline local governments battling insecurity in Katsina State in the last 7 years. Governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, has condemned in strong terms the attack by yet-to-be-identified gunmen on the senator representing Anambra South Senatorial Zone, Ifeanyi Uba's convoy, Sunday evening. According to a statement by the press secretary to the governor, Christian Aburime, all security agencies are now on full alert to fish out the perpetrators of the attack, who will be made to face the full wrath of the law. The governor commiserated with Uba and families of his aides who lost their lives, as well as the State Commissioner of Police, especially for the 2 policemen who also lost their lives. The convoy of Senator Ifeanyi Uba came under attack at Enuguku community in Njikoka local government area of Anambra State on Sunday. Some policemen and aides of the lawmaker representing Anambra South Senatorial District were killed in the incident. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, and Labour leaders want Nigeria's government to unmask those behind the monumental oil stealing in the country. They made the demand on the sidelines of a 2-day retreat organized by the Labour Party in Abuja, the nation's capital. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman now reports.
Speaking on the economics of the growing revenue leakages in the oil and gas sector, which is changing the citizens of enormous resources, presidential candidate of the Labour Party Peter Obi says if properly utilized, such can address the lingering ASU strike in just 1 day.
Oil on the average sold in July, you can use an average of 110. I've said it everywhere. Multiply with that number, you have $2,445 million.
Speaking on the same trajectory, a former human rights lawyer, Femi Falana, says it is inconceivable that the federal government lacks knowledge of how the oil resources is being illegally shipped out of the country.
And we're happy now, the Comptroller General of Customs has come up publicly to say that it's impossible to smuggle daily about 38 million liters of fuel. Where will they pass? Because you need tankers, and you will need at least 500 tankers loading 33,000 liters of fuel per one.
President of the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC Ayuba Waba suggested the need to utilize illegal operators in the oil fields to instead contribute to the nation's refining capacity as means of addressing the challenge.
That Nigeria, despite being the sixth largest oil producer in the world, that we cannot refine petroleum products for more than 3 decades. What do? We export crude oil and half of it is being stolen. And in turn, we go back to buy refined products. And we don't complain that things are not working.
The two-day retreat of the Labour Party is aimed at reactivating its nationwide structures to mobilize support for those contesting various elective offices under its platform. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the meantime, the former chief security officer to late Sani Abacha, Hamza Al-Mustafa, on Monday visited Governor Nyesom Wike in his Port Harcourt residence. Hamza Al-Mustafa, the Action Alliance presidential candidate for the 2023 general elections, visited the governor as part of his consultation for the 2023 presidential election. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, story of 15-year-old phone repairer in Gombe. Do stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Thank you for rejoining us. This is News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. Aviation workers paralyze activities at airports in Kano, Lagos, and Abuja. National Industrial Court adjudicates on ASU lingering strike. Moving to other stories now. As schools across the Federal Capital Territory resume after the long holiday, parents are appealing to school authorities to provide adequate security and also be considerate with tuition and other fees due to the hard economic situation in the country. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu, who monitored the resumption of schools within the FCT, spoke with some parents on their readiness to send their children back to school. Here's that report.
It's the first day of school, and pupils are excited to be back for the new academic session after the long holiday. Prior to the long holiday, schools were abruptly shut down in the Federal Capital Territory due to security concerns. As a prelude to that, parents who are still entertaining fear, however, called on the authorities to ensure the safety of their wards, as well as the impartation of quality education.
There's nothing different between when they close the school and what is happening now. Is the FCC safe now? It's not safe, but we cannot keep our children there in the house for longer. Like now, the ASU is on strike. It's affecting the family, it's affecting the parents, it's affecting everybody. It's even affecting the children. So if we should keep the children, the secondary school children and primary school at home now, when are they going to go back to school?
The children find it difficult the last time to take their exams and all the rest. The exam that need to carry on for 1 week, they wrote it within 2 days interval. We are still praying, looking forward for our government to improve for the security for the children.
Acknowledging the harsh economic realities, these parents say they struggle to pay tuition fees and other learning materials, and appealed for a flexible payment plan that would be comfortable for both parties.
Every payment is from the parents. As I am now, I went for verification and I was given the list for new intake. It's not easy for me as a parent. It's not easy at all because as I am now, I have like 4 kids. It's not easy for me. To me, I would say the federal government should help the parents. At least they should not increase the payment from the school. Let the payment, let it be stable or a little bit lesser.
We do the one we can do. Privates are better, but it's more expensive that most parents cannot afford. So, but some parents doesn't mind to give their children the best. They can wear anything to make sure that their children go to private school. They are pushing government aside.
The debate about the preservation of the quality of education in public schools continues to give rise to the enrollment of more pupils in private schools, with parents bearing the brunt of that choice vis-à-vis the cost of private education. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Monday, September the 12th, is a reopening day for most primary and post-primary schools in Benue State. In Makurdi, the state capital, our reporter spoke with parents, teachers and students who expressed mixed reactions in the face of rising inflation as the new academic session begins. Here's that report.
September always ushers in a new academic session. With it come new financial challenges as pupils who move to upper classes need new set of books and other accessories. With the present increase in prices of goods and services, the education sector is not spared, as parents confirmed.
But in Benue State, as I'm talking now, it's merely a civil servant state, and workers have not been paid.
It's just finance. We want to register these children for the educational distance, but the finance is the major problem.
There are things to buy for them. The new students, you buy uniform, shoes, that is their sandals and the textbooks and the materials. And where is the resources?
You have to wake up in the morning to prepare the breakfast and the lunch, and you have to drop the kids in school before you go to your own work. So, but as a parent, what do? We must do.
For teachers and school administrators, they expect delayed resumption as well as inconsistent fee payment due to the hard economic realities in the state.
It has not been easy, and some of them still have the belief that school, when they resume, things don't start on time, which is not correct, and for that they have not really been able to allow their wards to come, and some of them are not prepared, even though they have still long at home, at least for a whole month, yet they are still not prepared financially to send their children to school, so it has been seriously challenging on their part.
Hard times have actually affected the resumption of students in school because This is first term. The children have enjoyed a long holiday and would be willing to come back.
For students, they are happy to return to school after the long holiday.
School is everything. Like, I'm tired of staying at home. I want to come to school and learn because there are lots of things to learn in a new class like this. There are lots of things to learn. So the happiness of being in a new class altogether makes me want to be in school.
I'm happy to resume because the learning can continue, and I'm happy with the development of the school and the teachings the school have been providing for us.
With most households depending on private schools for education due to lack of investment in public schools by the government, the education of young Nigerians is now more challenging, as private operators who are striving to stay in business continue to increase fees. This is in addition to the insecurity in some places that has worsened the situation, with a disturbing number of kids leaving school due to terrorist attacks.
And to some cheering news now. Mobile phone repairs is one of the viable businesses in the communication industry that provides job opportunities to thousands of Nigerians. While many are phone repairers in Gombe State, a 15-year-old student is advancing a career in phone wrapping for self-reliance. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
It is a busy work day for the 15-year-old Jafar Muhammad, a Gombe-based young boy aspiring to advance his business to higher level through phone wrapping. Jafar, who is a student of JSS 3, said he does not want to depend solely on his parents to solve his personal problems. Hence, he started doing business of covering mobile phones with transparent polythene. I am wrapping phones for self-reliance. If you need anything, you don't have to ask your father or anyone. You can cater for yourself. He said he is now making little profits from the business and feels good to be self-sufficient in a way. I make 200 naira daily. I used to give my mother 50 naira, spend 50 naira and save 100 naira. I want to be a businessman. If I grow up, I want to be famous in the world. Self-sufficiency among youth is important as it builds confidence and makes them strong and independent. For Jafar, being self-reliant is another achievement or milestone reached. He hopes to build a business that can offer other young boys like him opportunities. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Young Jafar showing indeed that necessity is the mother of invention. The Emir of Bauchi, Rilwan Suleiman Adamu, has urged parents to ensure their children are engaged in useful ventures such as agriculture and other skills that will reduce youth restiveness in the society. The Emir stated this at the one-week training of 100 youth and women on post-sustainable agricultural development engaged by the National Directorate for Employment in the state. Adamu Imam completes the story.
The Emir, who was represented at the training by Zubairu Aliyu, further called on the youth to embrace such program to become employers of labor and not job seekers.
In very useful venture, either agriculturally or through other skills acquisitions, so that they don't become a nuisance to their parents, to the society, and to the country at large. Especially this time of our political era, we shouldn't rely on the politicians, especially the type of politicians we have now. They will just use them, make them do what they want. Immediately they finish, they drop them.
The Director General of the National Directorate of Employment NDE, Abubakar Fikpo, represented by the State Coordinator Aliyaya, says the 100 participants were selected across the 20 local government areas for the training on goat rearing and production and other skills.
Be connected to the funding of the participants, but during the training they will be introduced to basic business training, whereby will open their horizon to look at sources of funding apart from the NDE, so that they can go to those loan granting agencies like NISAL Microfinance Bank, like the Bank of Agriculture, Bank of Industry, and the rest of them, so that they can access funding from there.
Some of the participants appreciated the NDE for the opportunity and promised to make effective use of the knowledge acquired during the training.
We want them to help us very much because this program is good. It's going to help us in one way or the other.
I am very lucky because I'm among the trainees. So this program will really help me from now up in future, because it will help me to enhance and to go at length of getting things on my own, to studying on my legs, to help my children, my brothers and my sisters.
The directorate, however, warned against defaulting on attendance, saying absentees will not be considered for enhancement to boost their production ability after the training. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
In the meantime, the management of Osun State University has suspended 6 students from the institution for their involvement in secret societies. The Vice-Chancellor of Osun State University, Professor Clement Adeboye, said this in Osogbo at a press conference ahead of the 11th convocation ceremony of the university. He said the 2,033 graduates who successfully completed their studies with 45 bagging first class would be conferred with their first degree, while 5 postgraduate students will be awarded with Doctor of Philosophy. The Vice-Chancellor said the Osun State University has zero tolerance for cultism and social vices, including drug abuse, immoral behavior, examination malpractice, thuggery, and other criminal tendencies.
University can take to reduce the spate of cultism in the society is to make students feel important in a way, relate with them, see them as stakeholders in the system, and make them have a sense of belonging. The moment they have that, even if some people are planning evil somewhere, they'll come and leak the secret to you as a vice-chancellor. And also as management, you don't wait for the situations to deteriorate before you take action. For us in Uniosun, whenever we have information of possible uproar somewhere, we quickly make arrangement for intervention so that we nip potential danger in the bud. And that is the way we have worked over time. Also, we organize series of lectures, series of awareness programs, so that our students could be better enlightened on the dangers and the evil of cultism and related vices.
Vice-Chancellor, Osun State University. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, says it has arrested a 23-year-old suspected kidnapper and cattle rustler terrorizing Abuja Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nasarawa, and Toto local government areas of Nasarawa State. Parading the suspects at the command headquarters in Lafia on Monday, the Public Relations Officer of the command, Jerry Victor, said the suspect, Tukur Mohammed, was apprehended in Safe local government area of Zamfara State after the command received credible information of his whereabouts. According to him, the suspect told the command that he got 4 cows as his share and sold same for 30,000 naira each to one butcher in Nasarawa local government area of the state. He explained that the suspect, Tukur Mohammed, has confessed to being a member of a deadly and notorious kidnapping syndicate that rustle cattle and kidnap for ransom around Abuja Area Council of the FCT, Nasarawa, and Toto local government areas of Nasarawa State.
Together with his gang, and demanded a ransom of 10 million naira from him. While they were waiting for the ransom, they were dislodged by the combined operation of the Nigerian Army and vigilante, also the men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in that area, leading to shooting of some of his gang members, while him and others escaped.
In a related development, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Zamfara State Command has arrested 7 suspects for different offenses. The Public Relations Officer of the State's Command, Iko Oche, made this known while parading the suspects on behalf of the State Commandant, Akushe, at the command headquarters in Zamfara. Here's that report.
The offences, the PRO said, include defrauding, vandalism, criminal conspiracy and theft. He said one of the suspects, a 26-year-old man, was rearrested for defrauding people of their monies through their accounts using point-of-sale business in Gusau. The suspect was said to have been operating a POS and commercial phone charging unit at the same time in Gusau metropolis. According to the core public relations officer, the suspect defrauded one of his customers who took his telephone for charging in the suspect's shop, where he used the phone to steal the sum of 1 million naira from the customer's account on August 20th, 2022.
Mohammed Lawal is an operator of a POS. At the same time, he does charging business where he charges phones. So on this fateful day, one Rabiu Sani happens to go to his shop to drop his phone for charging. And as a result of that, he took advantage of the presence of this phone and decided to transfer monies to the tune of 1 million naira, 500 each, to the accounts of one Adamu Hamidu M, who banks with First Bank, and one Nasiru Musa M, who banks with FCMB.
The PRO disclosed that operatives of the Corps also arrested 2 more suspects for stealing 484 litres of diesel from a private company in Tsafe local government area of the state, where they work as security guards.
Abdul Nasiru Babangida M, 27 years of age, he lives at Emir Road, Tsafe. We also have Adamu Abdullahi M, 29 years of age, of same address. It may surprise you to know that these 2 gentlemen that I've just mentioned are all security attachments to a particular firm called Iron Gas Company Telecommunication in Tsafe, of which they are meant to keep vigil and watch over the facilities of this particular firm.
Other suspects were arrested in connection with vandalization of telecom mast angle iron at Tsafe Metro.
In the meantime, the Controller General of the Nigeria Correctional Services has given assurances that in spite of security challenges across the country, inmates at all facilities across the country remain optimally secure. The Controller General's assurances come as he promoted over 1,000 men and officers to their next ranks, mostly from deputy superintendents to deputy controllers of correctional services. In Katsina, Abdullahi Yamadi reports that 42 men and officers of the Nigeria Correctional Services were decorated with new ranks. Here's his report.
These promoted officers are being urged to show more dedication in confronting contemporary issues undermining the service. The Katsina State Controller Abdulmumini Haruna is reminding officers that their primary responsibility is premised on modesty and respect for the fundamental human rights of inmates.
Which means when we thought before we had 1 star and now we have 2 stars, we know something has increased. It is not only the joy, but even the job. So let us empty our mind and see that we commit ourselves, we offer relentless service, we offer worthy service worthy of being credited as hardworking, diligent, and honest. And by this, God willing, will prosper more and more.
The officers have also been urged to ensure professionalism and general welfare of inmates to reciprocate the promotions which were based on merit. In spite of all challenges bedeviling Katsina State, the Correctional Service Boss is assuring citizens of maximum security of inmates at all their facilities across the state.
Saves 9. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Let's forearm ourselves and see that we are ready for this CBT test, so that as we have now prospered, God willing, even in our next promotions, will prosper. I wish to pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is omnipotent and omniscient, has awarded this promotion to us, will guide us, will help us see that We discharge our duties, we discharge our work as it should be done, as it should be worked.
The promoted officers who appeared with their families, friends and well-wishers promised to remain committed to the service as a way of showing their appreciation. They are also pledging to work assiduously with sister organizations to ensure safety of lives and general welfare of all inmates. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. The news continues after the break.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. This is News Hour on Trust TV. In business news, as the federal government seeks to diversify the nation's economy, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has announced plans to increase Nigeria's production capacity in the cashew value chain to help drive local investment and create jobs in the country. The ministry added that it has put plans in place to end export rejects from Nigeria in the international market. Christiana Amodu brings us up to date.
The federal government, in collaboration with the Africa Cashew Alliance, said it seeks to increase cashew production from 260,000 metric tons to 500,000 metric tons annually. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Evelyn Ngige, disclosed this at a press conference in Abuja.
It is in this regard that Nigeria, like other member countries of the Africa Cashew Alliance, has sustained its commitment to the provision of enabling environment and incentives for development of the cashew value chain. These efforts have enhanced activities in the subsector. Presently, Nigeria has 15 active processing plants with an estimated capacity of 55,750 metric tons, and 8 inactive plants with an estimated capacity of 8,500 metric tons. New investments are being planned for the development of 6 new plants with an estimated capacity of 22,910 metric tons.
The president of the Africa Cashew Alliance says the collaboration is aimed at changing the narrative and building the lives of Nigerians, gaining over $4 billion in foreign exchange for the Nigerian economy.
Industrialization, so that we can add more. Today in Nigeria, for instance, we get about $450 million from cashew. By the time we step up our value addition, we can move generating about $4 billion from the same commodity. From this same commodity. If you look at what is happening in Vietnam, Vietnam was close to about $3.5 billion from cashew.
The inaugural conference is holding in Nigeria for the first time with her theme, Strengthening Sustainable Kernel and Byproduct Marketing in the African Cashew Industry. It is also expected to create market access for Nigerian producers. Christiana Amodu Otinya, Trust TV News.
More on business now with Chamun Dabeng as our guide.
According to the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Nigeria's oil production decreased to 972,394 barrels per day (BPD) in August 2022, a decrease of 30.22% from January's output. The 1.08 million BPD recorded in July 2022 was reduced by 10%. According to a presentation made to the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, production shutdowns were brought on by the declaration of force majeure, fire outbreaks, industrial strike activities, and a spike in oil theft. Between January and August of this year, Nigeria lost 13.21 million barrels of crude oil worth an estimated 603.64 billion naira. The Nigeria Upstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission said that the country's oil production only rose in 2 months while falling in the other months. Data released by the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System (NIBSS) states that the platform handled transactions worth 33.2 trillion naira in August through the NIBSS Instant Payment Platform (NIP). With this most recent statistic, 238.7 trillion naira has been spent on e-payment transactions over the past 8 months. The NIBSS data also reveals that since the platform's introduction in August of 2012, the amount of e-payments in August of that year reached an all-time high. This exhibits a 13.3% gain when compared to the 29.3 trillion naira recorded in July. The value of e-payments has grown 50% year over year from the 22.1 trillion naira recorded in August of last year. The rise in electronic transactions indicates that more Nigerians are adopting the Central Bank of Nigeria's cashless policy. The value of recorded e-payments, according to NIBSS, is a reflection of the rise in the number of transactions throughout the month. In August, the NIP volume increased to 448 million, a 10.6% rise from the 405 million registered in July. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
On the foreign scene, King Charles III has made his first visit to Parliament as monarch, with MPs and peers offering their condolences to him and the Queen Consort. In his reply to the lawmakers, the King said connections to his darling late mother were all around Parliament, which he described as the living and breathing instrument of the nation's democracy. As he spoke, a sea of thoughtful, contemplative faces listened with rapt attention. Afterwards, the King managed a few smiles as he acknowledged various familiar faces in the congregation. The British monarch and the Queen Consort are on the way to Edinburgh, where the Queen's coffin rests at the Palace of Holyrood House. The King and other royal family members will walk behind the coffin as it goes to St. Giles Cathedral for public view.
Personal commitment for the betterment of us all. Parliament is the living and breathing instrument of our democracy. That your traditions are ancient, we see in the construction of this great hall, and the reminders of medieval predecessors of the office to which I have been called, and the tangible connections to my darling late mother we see all around us, from the fountain in New Palace Yard, which commemorates the late Queen's Silver Jubilee, to the sundial in Old Palace Yard for the Golden Jubilee.
King Charles III flew into Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, on Monday to lead a royal procession behind the coffin of his mother up the narrow, cobbled street of Edinburgh's Royal Mile from the Palace of Holyrood House to St. Giles Cathedral. The body of Britain's late longest-serving monarch travelled through the heart of Edinburgh, escorted by ceremonial bodyguards brandishing longbows as cannons boomed in the background. A grand spectacle played out in the Scottish capital rather than London because Queen Elizabeth II passed on last week at Balmoral Castle. The body will lie in state at St. Giles Cathedral until Wednesday, when the body will be airlifted to London. Time now to join Adeni Ajishafe for more on sports news.
Nigeria Under-19 are back-to-back champions of the Under-19 Boys African Nations Volleyball Championship as they pummel Egypt 3-0, 25-20, 25-18, 31-29 at the just concluded 2022 Under-19 Boys African Nations Volleyball Championship in Morocco on Sunday. Nigeria won the first set by 25-20 and the second set by beating Egypt 25-18. Egyptians began the third set on the high spirit, taking points alongside the Nigerian team. Both teams took points from 25-25 before Nigeria eventually won by 31-29 points. Head coach of Nigeria Under-19 boys team, Adekalo Adeniyi, praised the relentless effort of the players against Egypt. And in fencing, Nigerians Toye Sawari emerged champions of 2022 Nines Men's EP Satellite Fencing Tournament following a 15-11 triumph over Moyosori Babalola. In a keenly contested final, both fencers were running neck-to-neck just before the first break as Babalola led 6-5. The final 3 minutes saw a rejuvenated Sawari who turned the heat on his compatriot as he led for the first time 8-7 with the clock counting down. 3 more consecutive points saw Sawari widen his advantage to 11-7, a point each just before the sound of the buzzer for a final 15-10 score. Nigerian Fencing Federation President Adeyinka Samuel expressed delight at the successful hosting of the championship, which featured kids as part of side attractions to commemorate September 10 World Fencing Day in Sub-Saharan Africa. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
Adeni's package brings us to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. Thank you for your company. I'm Eugenia Abu. Good night.